We kick off the 2020 season of reviews with the JDH Concave. Now this is the X93 version, so it's 95% carbon content. It features a full legal low bow, a groove in the face and a touch compound. JDH very tightly monitor the balance point of their sticks and the weight. The balance point is always around 39 centimeters from the head of the stick, and the weight is always around 520 grams. So this review has been forced to be a little bit different from the reviews I've done in the past, given the situation in the world right now. As such, I feel I can't call this a full review. It's more of an extended initial review. So I'll give you my initial thoughts from the first few sessions where I've used the stick, and I'll be publishing a full review later on. So as I said, I have used this stick over several sessions, but I can't really go into anything game related because they have been in isolation. So straight off the bat, the feel of the stick is more solid than in the previous years. Despite this, the stick's weight is the same as the model I reviewed last year, which is really incredible considering the difference in feel. Even with this more solid feel of the stick, it's very well balanced for moving the ball around. The stick has a very high level of stiffness, so it gives good feedback when you're on the ball. This feedback gives you a lot of confidence when carrying the ball through tight areas of play because you always know where the ball is on the end of the stick. The stick compensates for this high stiffness by using a touch compound on the face. This touch compound is super grippy. It might actually be the best touch compound I've ever reviewed in terms of its grip and the way it holds onto the ball. The compound holds the ball really well to the face while you're dribbling, and it adds to that confidence that you'll have of always knowing exactly where the ball is on the end of the stick. Unfortunately, this can be a bit of a double-edged sword, as if you have the face angled incorrectly, because it grips the ball so well to the stick, it will cause the ball to come up the low bow and lift into the air. If you can get this under control, it can be a useful thing to take into a game, but if you are trying to adapt to the stick, it can be something that works against you. As I've said, the stick has a high level of stiffness. What this means for hitting is that the stick gives excellent transfer of power onto the ball, so all that momentum that you generate with the swing gets transferred straight through. The sweet spot on the stick is also really big. This means that even after the long break that we've all been forced to have, there was very few shots in my recording sessions where I felt like I'd mishit the ball. With this clean connection, it gives you a lot of more confidence to go for difficult shots, because you know it gives you a lot of power. This is a low bow stick with a thin head shape, so it does suffer from the usual drawbacks associated with this profile. This means it's very easy to get under the ball and lift your hits when you're not trying to. As long as you're used to this profile or you're able to train to get around these drawbacks, this stick is very good for placement, making it really easy to put the ball into the bottom corner or the top corner. The edge on this year's Concave is fairly stiff compared to some other drag flicking models. It also feels more solid than other sticks that I've tried in the past. This thick edge gives you really good power transfer, possibly even more so than when you're hitting on the open stick side. Because of this power and the thin head, it's very easy to chop under the ball on reverse by angling the head of the stick down so you strike under the centre of the ball. This makes it good for hitting into top corners once you have this under control. Though this makes it very good for hitting into top corners once you have it under control, until you do it makes it very easy to launch the ball over the bar or to accidentally lift a pass dangerously. As long as you can keep the stick in the correct position though, it is really good for hitting flat on reverse, so you can really nail those tomahawk passes to the back post for deflections. As I said at the start of this video, this is a full low bow with a thinned head, so it's designed to make flicking as easy as possible. In this element it performs excellently. It's very easy to catch the ball on the head of the stick and lift it into the air, whether that's for a 3D skill or flicking a shot at goal. When using 3D skills, the ball is held on the touch compound, giving you a ton of control over where you want to move the ball, giving you confidence when moving past a tackle. When you're shooting, you have this same confidence going into the placement of your shot. You can easily fire the ball into the corners. That is when you don't generate too much power for the pitch to handle. Because of the balance of this stick, it's very easy to accelerate the head through the ball once you have it up and off the ground. Because of this, you can get a lot of power when flicking into the corners, especially when you're lifting the ball. The full low bow and thinned head combined again to make it very easy to get under the ball for overhead passing. Because of the groove, it's easy to utilise the bow to add more power and distance to your overhead. as it's guided up the shaft of the stick and then back down as you release the ball. As you are releasing the ball, it's very briefly slowed by the touch compound. Using the touch compound to slow the ball a little as you release the overhead gives you great control over accuracy. It may slightly reduce the range, but that increase in accuracy really is worth it. Even with this reduction to distance, I was still able to drop the ball easily into the goal from the halfway line. One thing I did notice was because of the grippiness of the touch compound on the face, you can easily add spin to overheads, causing them to dart off to the right as they land. As long as you've got the correct technique though, this is only a minor inconvenience. When it comes to drag flicking, the first thing you will notice when you start is how easy the touch compound makes the initial pickup. It balances the stiffness of the stick by gripping the ball so that the stiffness doesn't cause you to knock the ball away. The concave works really well in the next stage as it guides the ball up through to the maximum bow point. The concave works really well in the next stage as it guides the ball up through the maximum point of the bow to allow you to get the most power out of it. This concave then continues to aid the drag flick through the release as it guides the ball back down to the head of the stick. Once the ball reaches the head of the stick, it's gripped again by the touch compound. This might make you lose a little bit of power, similar to with overheads, but what it gives you is an incredible control of placement once you get the hang of it. The other thing that I noticed during my initial testing phase was that the touch compound adds an insane amount of spin to the ball, so it visibly curls through the air. As you can see from this shot, I found the best way to demonstrate this was to put the ball straight down the line of the camera so you can see it curl. This is no doubt going to be a nightmare for goalkeepers coming up against this stick at penalty corners. So to summarise my initial thoughts of this stick, it is truly phenomenal for any sort of flicking. The touch compound combined with the low bow and the light feel really make it capable of unleashing some incredible power on flicks. The touch compound also adds spin to the ball, so when you're drag flicking you can literally curl the ball into the corner. While the stick isn't as sharp, the stick has good all-round play in terms of hitting, reversing and feel on the ball. The stick is also fantastic for dribbling, which when your product designer, Jamie Dwyer, who was known for his close control, the sticks are always going to have a composition that favours that feel on the ball. So those are my initial thoughts of the 2020 JDH Concave X93 stick. I look forward to spending more time with this now that I'm able to get back into competitive hockey. I'll have a further update for you on this review coming soon.